Should you still take a daily aspirin? The shocking truth for anyone over 60. For decades, it was a cornerstone of medical advice, something our parents and grandparents swore by. A daily baby aspirin was your personal bodyguard against a heart attack. It was simple, cheap, and it felt like you were doing something smart for a long, healthy life. But what if I told you that for millions of people, this common wisdom is not just outdated, but actually dangerous? What if the very pill you think is protecting your heart could be putting you at risk? The medical world has made a quiet but dramatic shift, and the truth about daily aspirin is something every single person over 60 needs to hear. Because understanding who should and who absolutely should not be taking it is the most critical part of this story. Here's the deal. New medical guidelines have completely flipped the script on aspirin. This isn't some minor update. It's a major reversal of advice we've followed for a generation. The U.S. Preventive Services Task Force, USPSTF, a leading panel of experts, has issued new recommendations that specifically advise against starting daily aspirin to prevent a first heart attack in most older adults. Why the sudden change? For many people, the risk of serious, life-threatening bleeding caused by aspirin now outweighs the benefit of preventing that first heart attack. Yet, a recent study found that millions of older adults are still taking aspirin without a clear medical need, potentially putting themselves in harm's way. This is the shocking truth many seniors don't know, and today, we're pulling back the curtain. We'll break down exactly what changed, why it changed, and what it means for you or the people you love. That's why we come up with 3 different parts, and each part includes everything you need to know about aspirin. Let's dive in. Part 1. Why decades of advice suddenly changed. To get why this is such a big deal, you have to understand how aspirin got so popular. For a long time, the science seemed simple. We know that most heart attacks and many strokes are caused by blood clots. These clots can form when a sticky patch of cholesterol plaque inside an artery breaks open, and your body rushes to form a plug. If that plug gets too big, it blocks blood flow to your heart or brain, and that's a disaster. Aspirin works by making your blood's platelets less sticky. Think of platelets as the first responders to an injury. They clump together to stop bleeding. By making them less clumpy, aspirin thins the blood and makes it less likely for a dangerous clot to form. Early studies in the 80s and 90s showed this could dramatically reduce the risk of a first heart attack, and doctors everywhere embraced daily aspirin as a go-to preventive tool. So, what went wrong? Why did advice that seemed so solid get turned on its head? It comes down to 2 big things. We got better at fighting heart disease in other ways, and new research gave us a clearer picture of aspirin's dark side. First, we now have amazing tools to manage other heart disease risks. We have highly effective statin drugs to lower cholesterol, better medications to control high blood pressure, and fewer people are smoking. This is great news. It means the average person's risk of having a heart attack is lower than it was 30 years ago. Because of that, the extra benefit you get from adding aspirin to the mix has become much smaller. Second, and this is the most important part, a series of huge modern clinical trials gave us a much clearer view of aspirin's major risk: bleeding. 3 major studies, ASPREE, ARRIVE, and ASCEND, looked at tens of thousands of people and laid out a stark reality. While aspirin offered a small benefit in preventing heart attacks, it also significantly increased the risk of major bleeding events. The biggest worries are gastrointestinal bleeds in the stomach or intestines, and intracranial hemorrhages, bleeding inside the skull. These aren't minor side effects. They can be life-threatening. When researchers weighed the small benefit against this serious risk, the scale tipped. For most healthy older adults who had never had a heart attack, the math just didn't work anymore. The potential for harm was greater than the potential for help. This led directly to the 2022 USPSTF recommendation. If you are 60 or older and don't have a history of heart disease, you should not start taking daily aspirin. It's no longer about your age, it's about your personal risk profile. And for most seniors trying to prevent a first heart attack, daily aspirin is off the table. So, before watching who should still take aspirin, let's find out who should not. Part 2. Who should not take aspirin? This is the part that really holds the shocking truth of our title. We're talking about something called primary prevention. It's a simple idea. It means trying to stop a disease before it ever happens. So, if you've never had a heart attack, a stroke, a stent, or bypass surgery, anything you do to prevent one is primary prevention. This is the group of people for whom the rules have completely changed. Let's be crystal clear. The new guidelines say that if you are 60 years or older and do not have existing heart disease, you should not start taking a daily aspirin. The reason is that for this group, the evidence now shows the risk of internal bleeding is a bigger deal than the potential benefit of preventing a heart attack. It's easy to forget that even a baby aspirin is a real drug with real side effects. And the main danger is bleeding. What does that bleeding risk actually look like? We're not talking about a paper cut that bleeds a little longer. We're talking about serious internal bleeding. The most common kind is a gastrointestinal GI bleed. This can happen when aspirin irritates the lining of your stomach, leading to a bleeding ulcer. The signs can be obvious, like vomiting blood or having black, tarry stools. But they can also be sneaky, like constant stomach pain or fatigue from slow blood loss causing anemia. For an older adult, a major GI bleed is a medical emergency. The risk goes up with age and is even higher if you take other common painkillers like ibuprofen or naproxen. Even scarier is the risk of an intracranial hemorrhage, bleeding inside your brain. This is a type of stroke, and it's a life or death emergency. While the risk is lower than a GI bleed, it's not zero, and the consequences can be devastating. For people over 60, this risk becomes a much heavier weight on the scale. So, for the 60 and up crowd without heart disease, the science is clear. Starting aspirin is not recommended. What about for people a little younger? For adults aged 40 to 59, the advice is more of a maybe. The guidelines say daily aspirin might be considered, but only if your 10-year risk of heart disease is 10% or higher, and you don't have a high risk of bleeding. Your doctor calculates this risk using things like your age, cholesterol, blood pressure, and smoking status. Even then, it's not automatic. It's a conversation to have with your doctor, weighing all the pros and cons for you personally. The potential benefit is small, so it's a very selective call. The bottom line for primary prevention is this: the days of casually starting a daily aspirin just because you hit a certain age are over. It must be a decision made with a doctor who knows your full medical history. Part 3. Who should still take aspirin? Now that we've talked about who shouldn't take aspirin, it is absolutely vital we cover the other side of the coin. Because for a different group of people, stopping daily aspirin could be a fatal mistake. This is where we talk about secondary prevention. Secondary prevention means using treatments to prevent another heart attack or stroke in people who have already been diagnosed with cardiovascular disease. This is the key difference. If you have a history of any of these, you're in the secondary prevention group. You've had a heart attack or an ischemic, clot-based stroke. You've had bypass surgery, CABG. You've had a stent placed in an artery. You've been diagnosed with angina, chest pain from blockages, or peripheral artery disease. For anyone in this group, daily low-dose aspirin is not just a good idea. It remains a cornerstone of therapy. Unless you have a specific allergy or an extreme bleeding risk, taking your daily aspirin is one of the most important things you can do. The scientific evidence for this is overwhelming and has not changed. Here, the benefit of preventing another catastrophic event far outweighs the bleeding risk. Why is it so different? Because if you've already had one event, your risk of having a second one is dramatically higher. The plaque in your arteries has already proven it's unstable. In this case, aspirin's blood-thinning effect isn't just a small protective step. It's a powerful defense working 24/7 to stop a repeat disaster. Studies have repeatedly shown that for these patients, aspirin significantly reduces the risk of another heart attack, stroke, and even death. What about the right dose? For secondary prevention, the standard is a low dose, typically 81 milligrams in the US. For a while, people wondered if a full 325 milligram adult aspirin was better. But a huge recent study called the Adaptable Trial compared the 81 milligram and 325 milligram doses and found no real difference in preventing heart attacks or strokes. Because of this, most doctors now stick with the 81 milligram baby aspirin as the standard. There is one critical exception: during a suspected heart attack. If you have symptoms like chest pain, shortness of breath, or pain radiating to your arm or jaw, call 911 immediately. While waiting for help, the operator may tell you to chew one full-strength, 325 milligram non-coated aspirin. Chewing helps it get into your system fast, and it can be life-saving. So, let's be perfectly clear. If you have known heart disease, you are almost certainly taking a daily aspirin for a very good reason. Don't stop. Don't change your dose. The new guidelines don't apply to you. For you, aspirin is a proven ally. So, we've covered a lot of ground, and it might feel like a lot to take in. But the goal isn't to scare you, it's to empower you. The single most important takeaway is this: never start, stop, or change your aspirin dose without talking to your doctor first. If you're currently taking daily aspirin to prevent a first heart attack and you're over 60, please make an appointment to talk with your doctor about whether it's still the right call for you. Don't just stop on your own, as that can sometimes trigger a rebound clot. If you have a history of heart disease and you're taking aspirin, keep taking it. It's likely protecting you every single day. Your health is your most valuable asset, and you're the most important member of your own healthcare team. This information is meant to help you ask the right questions. If you found this helpful and think it could benefit someone you know, please share it. So, let's find out how to maintain a healthy heart beyond medication. While we've focused on aspirin's role in heart health, it's crucial to remember that medication is just one piece of the puzzle. The most powerful tools for maintaining a healthy heart are often the simplest lifestyle choices you make every day. Regular physical activity stands at the top of this list. You don't need to become a marathon runner. Even 150 minutes of moderate exercise per week, like brisk walking, swimming, or cycling, can dramatically reduce your risk of heart disease. The key is consistency, not intensity. Your diet plays an equally vital role. Focus on a heart-healthy eating pattern, rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats like those found in olive oil, nuts, and fish. The Mediterranean diet has been extensively studied and shows remarkable benefits for cardiovascular health. Limit processed foods, excessive sodium, and added sugars, which can contribute to high blood pressure and inflammation. Managing stress is often overlooked but critically important. Chronic stress can lead to high blood pressure, irregular heart rhythms, and inflammation. Find healthy ways to cope, whether through meditation, deep breathing exercises, yoga, or simply engaging in hobbies you enjoy. Quality sleep is another cornerstone of heart health. Aim for 7 to 9 hours nightly, as poor sleep is linked to increased cardiovascular risk. If you smoke, quitting is the single most impactful thing you can do for your heart. Within just 1 year of quitting, your risk of heart disease drops by half. Don't forget about regular health screenings either. Keep track of your blood pressure, cholesterol levels, and blood sugar. These numbers tell an important story about your cardiovascular health and help your doctor make informed decisions about your care. Finally, maintain strong social connections. Research shows that people with robust social networks have better heart health outcomes. Whether it's family, friends, or community groups, meaningful relationships contribute to both emotional and physical well-being. Remember, small, consistent changes compound over time to create significant improvements in your heart health. So, this is it. The story of aspirin and the heart is a perfect example of how science is always learning and evolving. What we once thought was a simple truth, that a daily aspirin is good for every older person's heart, has been replaced by a smarter, safer, and more personal approach. The truth that many seniors don't know is that the old one-size-fits-all recommendation is gone. For most, the bleeding risk makes daily aspirin an unnecessary gamble to prevent a first heart attack. But for those with a known history of heart disease, it remains a life-saving medicine. The power is in your hands. By understanding the crucial difference between primary and secondary prevention, you can have a smart conversation with your doctor and make sure your plan is truly working for you. Thank you for taking the time to educate yourself. Be well and stay proactive.
And with that, we wrap up today's video. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. For more queries, I have also added some studies at the end of this video description. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Stay healthy, stay fine.